It's also a popular, visible brand to draw attention. I know. A lot of people get very mad about it, and it's like I don't know how to. I don't have like a final opinion on this because in my mind, I do feel like it's I guess it's a demonstration of Palestinian solidarity, so that's good. Even if it's like misplaced against Starbucks, which is not necessarily a company that is like pro-Palestine anyway. Does that make sense? So, you know, a lot of people say this kind of stuff, and here are even Zoomers in the Kai Cenat chat.
Whoa! Why I say no Starbucks?
Wow.
Boycott. Bro, why y'all banning them, bro? Who are y'all banning? Who's fussing about banning? I'm trying to read shit.
Wow, Aiden. Aiden, are you in here? How do you feel about your bot participating in the silencing of protest globally in one of the most important chats? It's basically the town hall for Zoomies.
They funding the...
This is so funny. Also, much respect to Kai Cenat for wearing a UPS t-shirt in solidarity with the union. You know, that's a Teamster through and through, you know what I mean? Anyway.
I gotta do my research, bro. So for the notice, I can't drink this. I gotta do my own research.
There's nothing funnier to me than watching a pressure campaign on like on a streamer who like very deliberately tries to remain apolitical, I guess, quote unquote apolitical, and then like when a big chunk of their fan base is like, you know, pro a particular position, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize it was like that. What? CEO targeted specific people at a union after October 7 and put targets on people at specific locations. I'm trying to find information that's easily digestible. Just drop the Starbucks topic, please. You are unintentionally using a trope. The left is perpetuating to discredit people criticizing Biden. Just stop. What? What are you talking about? I said that Starbucks corporate targeted specific Starbucks unions that wanted to show solidarity to Palestine. That is true. What does this have to do with Joseph Robinette Biden? This is yet another case of a chatter just basically repeating what I said verbatim in a shorter format, in a more reductive format, and then yelling at me over it, and I don't understand. Anyway.
Alright, bro, we not doing that shit. I got me some cranberry juice.
Yo! Bro knew damn well he just swapped the glass. Anyway, that's awesome. I mean, cool. I have yet to witness any big material changes from boycotting and not buying stuff. People are so stuck in the whole capitalism thing. The only way they see is to get see ways of consuming is to try and do something. Yeah, I guess. Bro divested his drinking choices. I mean, look, that to me, that feels kind of good. It's like, this is why I'm not yelling about it too much. Okay? This is why I'm not yelling about it too much. Why am I not yelling about it too much? Because, like, if Zoomers want to, like, if Zoomers are using Starbucks as a beacon of, like, showing Palestinian solidarity, and that's, like, one method that they can get people that they love, that they watch every day, to also show solidarity of some sort, even if it's misplaced, right? People on Twitter who have very large platforms use Starbucks as a way to discredit the entire pro-Palestinian movement as Zoomers following a trend they know nothing about, so just drop Starbucks, please. You're right, chatter. I should just drop talking about this instead of, like, trying to further elaborate on an issue. Anyway, like I said, the reason why I don't speak out on it, I guess, is because, like, even if it's misplaced, I guess, considering that all companies, just like Starbucks, play a role in like, I guess, being somewhat supportive of Israel, right? Ultimately, it's a way to demonstrate pro-Palestinian solidarity. And it's a way to get, like, a big streamer to basically say, oh, my bad, I didn't know it was like that. Right? I didn't know it was like that. My apologies. Right? Anyway. Hasan, you the biggest centrist out there. Does boycotting help anything? It can. It's just that boycotting on its own without, like, actual union power or without actual demands is often going to be disorganized. Like, decentralized boycotts are ineffective. Okay? Starbucks has lost $11 million dollars in market value, and not because of the boycotts. Yeah, I think a lot of people were also claiming that Starbucks lost $11 billion dollars because of the boycotts, which I don't think is correct. Like, I don't think it was because of the boycotts, but I guess here it is. One thing is true: the Seattle-based coffee company is not having a bang-up time heading into the new year. Its share price has seen a sharp decline. Starbucks' stock is experiencing a historic losing streak. Data collected by third parties suggests its foot traffic and sales may be falling short of Wall Street expectations. Has seen negative headlines and how it's handling relations with workers attempting to unionize, which I think is probably a bigger reason. Oops, what did I do? Many of whom walked off the job in its Red Cup day when it gives out free reusable seasonal cups. In addition, it has found itself caught in the crosshairs of the Israel-Hamas war after a pro-Palestine tweet from the union that prompted calls for a boycott on the right and the left, though analysts say it's hard to know the impact these calls are having on the actual business or the stock price. I don't think it's the protests that are driving this, says Sarah Sanatori, senior research analyst at Bank of America. The timeline on foot traffic declines don't really line up with the boycotts. Plus, Starbucks is no stranger to controversy. I think it's a combination of all of it. I think that it certainly played a role in it. Why was something like the bus boycotts and the civil rights movement so effective versus something like the Starbucks boycott, Jen? Great question. The Montgomery bus boycotts specifically were the Montgomery bus boycotts were very tangible, identifiable goals, right? It was associated with a civil rights movement that was significantly better organized. It was very targeted, and it had tangible, identifiable goals. Does that make sense? it wasn't simply like spontaneously deciding online that we were no longer going to be sipping on Starbucks or something like that, but instead, or Hogwarts Legacy. We're not going to play Hogwarts Legacy. That's in my opinion one of the best demonstrations of like a consumer product that was silly to boycott, because it wasn't direct. It was a very indirect way of criticizing a very specific person that had created the IP, but the IP itself wasn't transphobic, and the video game itself wasn't transphobic either, and it was like associated with transphobia due to the person that was benefiting from it, J.K. Rowling's, right? One of the most prominent TERFs online. But to the broadest majority of the public, like they don't know or care about J.K. Rowling, or they just want to play wizard game that makes them feel like kids again. So that was a very ineffective boycott movement, right? Because there was no tangible goal associated with it either. Because if the ultimate goal was to get people to be aware of J.K. Rowling's transphobia, then there were probably better ways of utilizing the popularity or capturing the popularity of the Hogwarts Legacy and simultaneously getting people to learn about it, right? And that was something that I presented ahead of time. That was something I presented ahead of time. That was something I tried to explain ahead of time as well. Boycotts are basically creating a mass ultimatum for brands and companies. We will not continue buying X until you Y. If you just say the first part without the ultimatum part, there's absolutely zero motive for that company to change their ways. Exactly. Sometimes they might not even know what to change their ways for. Right? But I see the Starbucks, the Starbucks boycott in and of itself as as a lightning rod, or as a signifier that you are, demonstrating Palestinian solidarity. So ultimately, it's not the absolute worst thing, I guess. The explanation of what's happening with Starbucks is actually kind of boring. The long and short of what's happening is that investors believe things aren't going as well as they would. The company had a strong quarter in July, September. Same-store sales in the United States were up by 8% because of pumpkin spice latte. They got a sales boost. And then in October, December, some data suggests Starbucks isn't doing as well, or at least not as well as expected. Starbucks' Red Cup Day saw just a 32% boost in foot traffic compared to 81% in 2021. That most likely is a consequence of the union, by the way. According to data provided to Vox by Memo, a media tracking and insights company, the readership on news related to Starbucks' Red Cup Day was much higher in 2022 than it was in 2023. Workers walked off the job in both years, and readership about that declined too, though to a lesser extent. Last year's success with Red Cup Day was partially driven by increased awareness around it as an event. And even then, it's not like the workers walking off the job in higher numbers than they did the year prior. It's still about media coverage around it. Not getting enough, natural or not getting enough organic media coverage around it. Anyway. Disorganized boycotting can work. What the F? I don't agree with that. I don't know a single instance of a disorganized, decentralized boycott that has ever actually worked. What is the aim of this talk? What are you trying to achieve? Demoralize people? Is that what the Palestine coverage has come to? Yes. My goal is to try and demoralize people and to stop them from protesting for Palestine. You've caught me. This is precisely the reason why I have never ceased my coverage and have continuously covered Israel's acts against humanity. over and over and over again every single day, continuously, sometimes for 8 to 10 hours a day, uninterrupted, since October 7. Hasan is so annoying sometimes, he says. True. So, my point is that even if this wasn't the most successful boycott, or even if this wasn't against like the best target, I still see value in it because I see it as a demonstration of solidarity. You know what I mean? That's my point. So overall, I see it as a positive because I see Zoomers and Kai Cenat chat being like, oh, Starbucks is funding genocide, and that's why you should no longer, what are you doing? You're drinking Starbucks. Like that, to me, what's significant there isn't necessarily boycotting Starbucks, because I'm sure they will be fine. It's more so that there is a social awareness and a demonstration of solidarity caused by social media that has decided that I guess Starbucks is the beacon of BDS when it's not. But it doesn't really matter because people are still saying that you should criticize products that we have associated together online with Israel. Okay? That's it. How is that different than what people wanted out of the Hogwarts boycott? The point was to show solidarity with queer people, specifically the trans community, because because Starbucks, much like every other company, at least is still associated and has done something that is like anti-Palestine. Whereas, and it's an ongoing genocide. Whereas Wizard Game is not even remotely associated with transphobia in the eyes of the broader public. That's my point. And there are also varying degrees of need when it comes to Palestine, something that I have regularly talked about, even far before this, because I've been covering Palestine for a very long time. Something that I've talked about this before is that for Palestinians, like things that you would do for white supremacy, to combat white supremacy in America, are very different for what you need to do for Palestinians. Awareness in and of itself in other circumstances, like throwing up a black fist for BLM, is not going to move the needle in combating police brutality, right, in the United States of America. But actually simply showing solidarity in that regard for Palestine is actually good, because there's different levels of need. Does that make sense? Because many people in America know that like police brutality is a thing. They sometimes think it's good. They sometimes think it's bad, but they know it's a thing. Many people in America, until recently, were not even aware that the Palestinians were being genocided, or that the Palestinians lived under an apartheid regime, and still to this day don't even believe it. So your goal is awareness. And this is something that Palestinian activists will tell you, Palestinians on the ground will tell you, is to never stop talking about Palestine, right? If you recall, one of the things that they were saying in the immediate aftermath of October 7 was not to even raise money or funds, but to just simply talk about what is going on and tell people about what is going on in Palestine, in Gaza specifically. Okay? So yeah. Ackman, Jews don't plagiarize, only what? Oh, Jesus. Jewish billionaire William Ackman was angry that Harvard students opposed genocide in Gaza. He was angry that Harvard President Claudia Gay didn't suppress students' First Amendment right to speech and assembly. He then demanded that Gay be ousted because she supposedly committed plagiarism. Gay was ousted. When a Jewish billionaire says the black president of Harvard must go, she goes. But then it was discovered that Ackman's wife, an Israeli-born former lieutenant in the Israeli Air Force, committed plagiarism. Ackman is now hopping mad. Only are supposed to be punished for plagiarism. Ackman is now threatening to expose plagiarism among faculty at MIT, where his plagiarizing wife taught. I, for one, am relieved that Ackman didn't order his wife to drop 2,000-pound bombs on MIT. God, it's just don't send me Norman Finkelstein tweets, please. Anyway, look, Norm sometimes can be, what's the word? Is it, he can be a bit, going to say shambolic, but that's not the right word. Crass. Hyperbolic. Bombastic. Exactly. That's the word.